Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back on the fight front once again. Make sure y'all subscribe. Just back with a real quick video here, man. Danny Jacobs versus Chavez Jr. First of all, just got to say, shout out to Danny Jacobs. He did what he was supposed to do, separate the boys from the men. Separate the men from the spoiled boys. Let's put it that way. Somebody like Chavez Jr., I counted him out years ago, whether it's the weight, the ducking the drug test, the lack of discipline and training, just not taking the sport seriously. It's one thing, if you're just a regular fighter, but you're the son of a legend. Okay, nobody's saying that you got to be just like your father, but you could be your own fighter, but don't disrespect the sport. You know what I mean? Like, even if he didn't want to follow in his father's footsteps, he wanted to be his own fighter, then don't disrespect the sport. Be the fighter that you want to be every time you show up in the ring. Be the fighter you need to be. Because every time he comes, he's always letting people down. And, like I said, I didn't think this fight was going to be any different. I told you I counted him out a long time ago, because when this fight was announced, I really didn't care. That's no knock to Danny Jacobs. Like I said, he's one of my favorite fighters. I felt like Danny Jacobs should have been in there with some like a Jose Benavidez or Darrell or just somebody, to get him ready for a 168 title. He's in the realms with the Charlos, the Canelos, the Demetrius Andrades. He's been separated himself from a Chavez Jr. They should have got him somebody. They should have had him a better fighter. They should have had him a better opponent, because Chavez Jr. doesn't belong in there with Danny Jacobs. That's how I feel. I mean, it's a big money fight for Danny Jacobs, but he's better than that. That's how I feel. But as far as Chavez Jr., what he did was exactly what I expected him to do. He quit in the 5th round. Just looking back at the fight, his main thing was to use the weight advantage. He came in looking like a damn cruiserweight versus a middleweight, which Danny Jacobs, of course, he was 168. But, he came in there towering over him, trying to dominate with just heavy punches. Started off the first 2 rounds, trying to take Danny Jacobs' head off. But by 3 and 4, when Danny Jacobs started making adjustments, he already started to show weakness. He was breathing heavy out of his mouth, of course, probably from the weight and the lack of training. And then after that, like, when Danny Jacobs started putting his punches together, when he started, like, even putting the pot shots and the pity pat shots together, hitting him head, body, jabbing to the body, to the head, even dog fighting him a little bit, he started getting frustrated. Danny Jacobs would, like, tie up or, push him back, complain about low blows. He was looking to the referee. Like, instead of trying to come back with anything, he was looking to the referee for help. And that just kind of shows you what type of fighter Chavez Jr. is. He's just kind of in there to try to get the money, get the win any way he can, except, he does it, in an unfair way, where Danny Jacobs, he had to face a guy that comes in at cruiserweight and, make the adjustments, technically and with his heart. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm just saying. Like, they're two different fighters that don't need to be in the ring. And first of all, if you ask me, does Chavez Jr. need to be in the ring again? Do I give him another chance? Nah, man, not at this point. There's too much going on at 168, even at cruiserweight, light heavyweight, and all these other divisions with, formidable guys that Danny Jacobs needs to be fighting. Even guys that aren't fighting Danny Jacobs, there's a lot of fighters out there who respect the sport even more than him. And after looking at Chavez Sr., his reaction to his son after the 5th round, that kind of hurt me. That kind of hurt me looking at Chavez Sr. like that, because, he's believing in his son, and, he's hoping he can, go in there and, clean up his act, not necessarily be like him, but, clean up some of the wrongs he done in the past. Because, like I said, looking back at those last couple of rounds in the fight, Danny Jacobs started turning it on and wasn't even really hurting him, but he was like piecing him up. When he started taking him to that elite level that Danny Jacobs knows, just piecing him up and moving and, showing him that he ain't going nowhere getting bust up by the end of that 5th round. He was breathing hard, his eyes were wide open, and he was like, oh, I quit. I can't breathe. So, I didn't know whether it was a broken hand or broken nose, but turns out it was a broken nose, but he didn't even fight through it. You know what I mean? He couldn't even fight through that. So that just shows you what kind of heart he has. He pulled a Victor Ortiz. He's like going in there cheering, getting everybody ready, and he gets everybody amped up, and then the first sign of any type of injury, he's like, oh, I'm out, I'm done. You know what I mean? So that's something like a kid on the playground, you'll understand if they do that, if they get their knee busted open, they'll go home, they'll go home. But him, this is what you train for. You train for this sport, to fight through the blood, to fight through the grit, to that's what you prepare for. That's what you do. But then, sign of one little, busted hand or whatever, instead of trying to fight through it, you quit. And you quit in the 5th round. You know what I mean? Everybody had your back in this fight and you still had a chance to win it, but you just quit. So for me, I just say there's really no room in boxing for guys with no heart, and I rarely count guys out or, take away or say, I don't respect them unless they do something like this, unless they do something, like dealing with, any type of drug tests, or if they're just like scumbags, I'll count them out. And I'm not calling Chavez Jr. a scumbag straight up, but I'm just saying that, he is kind of a spoiled brat in this one. He definitely was looking for an easy fight, an easy way to win a fight, and at the same time find the easy way out. When a guy's like that, they'll never be champion. You know what I mean? So, shout out to Danny Jacobs again for, coming to perform. Everybody tried to boo him too, and I was like, what the hell y'all booing him for? Whenever he's the guy that came to fight, a big ass man, a bigger man. But again, shout out to Chavez Sr. too. He was always, one of the warriors in boxing I grew up watching. And, for him to see his son pull something like that, I was just like, wow, man. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. I just kind of want to go on a little rant with that one because, this is a sport I love. Boxing is a sport I love. And just to see a guy kind of pull these type of antics, at the sign of danger, you just try to find a way to bail out. You pull something like that. I can't really get with that. But I'm rarely going to do rants like this, too. That ain't my style. But, yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. Tell me what y'all think Chavez Jr. Tell me what y'all think of him. Tell me what you think he should do from here. As far as Danny Jacobs, they need to get him back in there with some good opponents at 168. Who do you want to see him fight next? I'd like to go ahead and see him in there with a Benavidez or a Callum Smith for real, though. But, again, shout out to Danny Jacobs. Again, man, shout out to Chavez Sr. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.